Blue Jay fans, we are, well, just about to get the 2018 season underway. This is kind of like the first video leading up to it's supposed to be, and hopefully a very nice 2018 Toronto Blue Jays baseball season. Now, we think this team is not a lot different than last year, so we're instantly thinking, oh, we're not a playoff team, we're not that, we're not this. Look, last year's team was depleted with injury. Last year's team didn't really have much depth at certain positions. A lot of those were addressed this offseason, and we're going to break down each position and kind of see where we're looking here, right? And what could go right for this team, and if it does, what can this team do? You know, first off, I want to say that we'll kind of figure out every week kind of when we'll be uploading a video recapping the previous week's games. I'm thinking maybe a Monday might be a good idea. You know, I don't know, maybe that's a good idea to do. Start the week with a Blue Jays video recapping the previous week's games. I think that's what we're actually going to do. You know what? Set that in stone. Every single Monday, we'll be recapping the games for the most part and who looked good in all the games, who looked meh, who we need to see more from kind of moving forward in the spring. So we'll do that every single week leading up to the start of the season at the end of March. Now, as for the team itself, who are we looking forward to seeing? Well, you know, for me, Aaron Sanchez is the guy that I look at, and I'm saying, okay, that's the guy we missed really bad last year and could do tons. Aaron Sanchez, in 2016, was a part of that Blue Jays really, really good starting rotation, led the American League in ERA. And last year, right, last season when we said this team was atrocious, he barely pitched 30 innings. That's a huge piece to this team that you did not have last year. So, let's say you throw in a healthy Aaron Sanchez into the mix. Let's say you throw in Marcus Stroman. This is all healthy, 100% kind of thing. Throw in Marcus Stroman that we had last year. Bang, that's a nice 1-2 punch. You have Estrada, you got J Happ. If J Happ can give you, when he got hurt, he wasn't doing all that great. When he came back, he was unbelievable. If he can give you that, oh my goodness, there's a lefty in the rotation that's a stud. Marco Estrada, you know what, he had a good start. Not a great middle, he had an alright end of the season. If he can give you the Marco Estrada we know, those are 4 really good starting pitchers, and the Jays just today signed Jaime Garcia to a 1-year deal. Look, over his career, he's been great. He just pitched for the New York Yankees, got acquired at the deadline. He could be a guy battling for that 5th spot in the rotation. You know, we do want that big name, and maybe an Alex Cobb or something like you said. Yu Darvish is obviously gone to the Cubs, and Jake Arrieta's still there, and all Jays fans are like, oh yeah, let's go after Jake. Where are we going to get the money to? Do you want to sign Josh Donaldson back next year? If you do, you're not signing Arrieta. I think signing a guy like Jaime Garcia, who's been through the mix, he knows what it takes to do the job, and it's on a 1-year deal. I think that's fine. He will be depth. If he doesn't make the starting rotation out of the spring, he's a guy that could, you know, definitely come in and make an impact when somebody gets hurt or if somebody's struggling, right? And a guy that I'm really looking forward to seeing too in the spring, Ryan Barucki, the rookie, or the youngster, if you just want to say that. He flew through the Blue Jays system last year. You know, I think he started in Lansing, in A-ball. Then he went to Dunedin. Then he went to New Hampshire. And he was tearing apart all these baseball teams. It was crazy. And then he went to Buffalo last year. And he did very well in his minimal starts with the Bisons. And you got to remember, who is this guy? Who is this Ryan Barucki guy we're going to look forward to seeing here in the spring? 23-year-old. He's a lefty. He's 6'4". And he's done very well in the levels so far. Now, he's a guy that I'm thinking could compete for that 5th start in rotation. If he has a really good spring and Jaime Garcia doesn't really, he's a guy that could get the spot. If, obviously, this is all, you know, saying that the Jays don't sign any more guys. So, that's a spot that could be filled up. I'm trying to go down the list here and see what else needs to be filled. That's kind of the rotation. Yeah, that's the kind of the thing. And obviously, Joe Biagini's obviously going to be in the mix as of right now. I do not want him in the rotation, but worst comes to worst, I guess you have him there, but I really don't want to see him in that fifth spot. I want to see him in the bullpen where he is that good. Speaking of the bullpen, Danny Barnes is back. I'm hoping for another great year out of him. You look at guys like, I'm going to Osuna. Carlos Ramirez, the guy we saw late in the season last year, had that crazy inning streak in the minors of not allowing an earned run, like 70-something innings, ridiculous number there. And then he came up to the big leagues, and I thought he did a fairly good job. Obviously, give up a few runs here and there, but very good promise there. Just a converted, I think he was a shortstop when he was drafted and all that. Great to see. I think he'll be a guy that could definitely compete for the bullpen and could possibly take a spot in the bullpen this year. Ryan Tepera, we know what we're going to see. I think we saw Luis Santos come up as well. He came up with Ramirez. He's going to be a guy I think that might be. I don't see him on the list here. I don't know if that means he's not on the 40-man roster or whatever it means. But he's a guy that I think they re-signed to a minor league deal. A possibility, right? But the one thing that I got to look at, and if I'm saying, what do the Jays have weakness-wise, pitchers-wise, in general, starting pitching and bullpen-wise? I got to say that fifth starter I'm still a little bit iffy about. I haven't seen anybody that's really stapled themselves in as the fifth starter yet. I wouldn't say it's an issue, but it's something that we haven't really seen a move made to solidify that spot. And the other spot we all know is the lefty reliever. Aaron Loup, Tim Meza, Matt Dermody, those are your three guys you're looking at right now. I think they signed Craig Breslow as well to a minor league deal as well. You could throw him in there as well. Who's going to take that spot? It's been a big hole since Brett Cecil got signed by the Cardinals. I think it was last offseason. Who's going to fit that mix? I don't know. I want to hear what you guys have to think. Is there anybody in free agency you think, yeah, you know what, I think we should sign this guy maybe for a spot in the lefty hole in the pen? I don't know. I want to hear what you guys have to say about that. So that's enough about the pitchers. Let's go positional players now. Now, the backup catcher position has been a real issue since Deandre Navarro left, right? We all know that. We've gone through Josh Tolley, Miguel Montero last year, Luke Maile, guys like that. Well, you know Russell Martin's your guy for right now, but you know he's not going to stay healthy 100% all the time, and he's going to need days off. So, who is your backup? Well, Luke Maile, I think right now, I think is that guy. If Luke Maile can find a bat, guys, we all know what he did defensively last year. If he can find a bat, I think he's a perfect backup. However, a guy like Danny Jansen, who put up ridiculous numbers with the Bisons last season, and when he was with New Hampshire, he did great there. And the story about him putting on some glasses, not sunglasses, prescriptive glasses, and it working for him and became a much better hitter. He could be possibly the backup catcher this year. Reese McGuire, I think he's a guy that you're going to see in the spring, and I think he's going to, I don't think he'll make the team out of camp. I think he'll be a guy that's in AA, maybe AAA, depending on the situation. But you got some options there for the backup catching spot, and I like that. Do we have a guy that's going to... Look, when we think of a backup catcher, guys, we're not talking about a guy who's going to hit you 250, 260, hit you 20 home runs. You're not going to get a backup catcher that does that. You're looking for a guy who can catch, like Luke Maile can defensively, but give you a little bit of offense. Sprinkle in a 210, 220 average, something like that, to give you some kind of punch off the bench. Luke Maile, batting-wise, didn't really give us that last year. Maybe he can find that stroke this year. I don't know. But it's something to look forward to in the spring, right? Now, as for the infield spot, the Blue Jays are clustered here. However, that is a good thing. You look at first base, and Justin Smoke, I don't know if he can repeat what he did last season. You saw at the end of the year, he did trail off a little bit. So that's something you look at, and you're like, okay, well, is that him maybe falling back down? I don't know. That's something we look into. Rowdy Tellez has been a prized prospect for our Jays team for a little while now. He was in AAA last year, had a really rough start to the season, found his stroke later in the year. I think he ended up hitting 220 or 230, but for most of the season he was barely hitting 200, so he found it later in the year. Again, that's a backup first baseman possibly, and we also have Kendrys Morales. We can't forget that guy. So those are options there at first base. Again, it's going to be very interesting to see in spring training what we do there. For the middle infielders, like I said, clustered, but it's good because health has been a real factor for our middle infield over the past couple of years. Devin Travis and Troy Tulowitzki are starters. And we heard about Troy Tulowitzki's bone spurs, but it looks like he's going to be okay for the start of the season and for most of spring training. It looks like John Gibbons is not really worried about that at all, so that's a good sign, I guess. Devin Travis is the big thing, guys. We know when Travis is healthy what he can do with the bat, and he got better with the glove last season. But if Travis can give you a healthy season of 300, if he can hit 300, my goodness, that's scary. That is very scary. And Tulowitzki, look, we can't guarantee this guy's going to play 150 games for you and be healthy. Just because of the last couple seasons of him being hurt as long as he has been. So, with that being said, the Jays went out and they got some infield help. And not just some scrubs. They let Ryan Goins and Darwin Barney go. And they brought in Yangervis Solarte, a guy that definitely can back up Troy Tulowitzki, or either guy, really. And they're both 250, 260 hitters. And then you Aledmus Diaz as well, another guy that you can possibly fill in that hole in the middle infield as well. Two guys that are very serviceable starters. You can really platoon Tulowitzki and Travis with these other two guys. And then you throw in Gifton Gope, a small deal that they made earlier in the off season, a guy that again can compete for the backup role. Could be a guy. He'll probably be down in AAA for the most part, but if a guy goes down, you got to have a backup to your backup coming in, right? So he's going to be a guy probably you're going to see there, unless he has some crazy spring that he makes the team. And your corner, I mean, you look at Josh Donaldson, he's your guy, and you can have Solarte or Diaz fill in there as well. So it's great to see the depth infield moves made. And if you're looking at Darwin Barney and Ryan Goins, we're like, oh, we love those guys. Look, Aledmus Diaz and Solarte are better players. As much as I love them too, I love Darwin Barney and Ryan Goins as well. Both guys got signed by other teams, and you got better players in return. So I'm fine with that. I'm totally okay with that. Now, you move ahead to the outfielder spot where this has been... We talk about a clustered infield. The outfield is a complete debacle. You're heading into the offseason, we're like, okay, Jose Bautista's gone, so you need to get a right fielder, right? And we have a feeling Teoscar Hernandez is going to be in left, Pilar in center. Okay, you need a right fielder. The Jays make the move for Curtis Granderson, and we're like, all right, that's probably going to be the move they make to get that, to make that, to work it. I mean, will Granderson be great? We're going to have to wait and see. Well, clearly, the Jays brass are not happy enough with that move, because they go out and they acquire Randall Grichuk from the St. Louis Cardinals. And I mean, Grichuk can be a very, very good left-right fielder, whatever. I think he's going to be a fantastic player for this team. So, but with that being said, what do you do with Carrera? You had Anthony Alford. I mean, I'm going to name all the outfielders and all the guys that could possibly be on the team next year. Anthony Alford, Ezekiel Carrera, Curtis Granderson, Randall Grichuk. They have Gurriel here. I don't think he'd play next year for the Jays. Hernandez, Pilar, Dalton Pompey's on here, and Dwight Smith Jr. So it's a very clustered outfield, but you know what that means? It's going to be a very competitive spring training, and you got depth for injury. We can't think about that enough. Now, I understand a lot of these guys, you're not going to send Granderson down to AAA Buffalo. That's not going to happen. You're not going to send Grichuk down. Not going to happen. You're probably not going to you're not going to send Carrera down. So would a trade be necessary? Yeah. And oh yeah, can't forget about Steve Pearce. I mean, he was a left fielder for the most part last year. He was a mess out there, but he's a possibility. So the option, like the thing I like about this Jays team moving forward is they have depth. They didn't have that last year. You saw the outfield. I mean, yeah, they called up Dwight Smith Jr. and Anthony Alford a little bit, and they were okay. But you need guys that you can bring in, veteran presences that you know can do well for you on a consistent basis. Guys like Granderson, who has a lot of pop. You got Grichuk, who's got a ton of pop. And Grichuk is still very young. So there's going to be a lot of competitiveness in this spring training. Last year, you kind of knew who you were going to see out there. This year, you've got a lot of fighting spots. And it's going to be fun to watch. That's why we're going to do it weekly and kind of break down who looked good, who hasn't looked good, who needs to step up if they want to make a spot on the team. It's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, do this Jays have a chance to make the playoffs? I think so. I think they can be a solid wild card team if they go on an absolute nut job tear and they find a way to take the division. There you go. With a healthy starting rotation and a consistent Roberto Osuna, you know Tepera and Danny Barnes are going to give you some pretty good work. The middle relief, if you have Joe Biagini in there, he'll give you some good work. The lefty relievers, yeah, that's still the issue. But you look, you've got Russell Martin and you've got a couple options as a backup catcher. You look at the first base, you got Smoke Morales, possibly, Steve Pearson there, and Rowdy Tellez if he surprises everybody. Then you get the middle infield where you literally have two guys that can start if Tulowitzki and Travis go down. So you've got depth there all over the place. Donaldson goes down, well, those two guys can step in there as well. You've got depth there. In the outfield, we all know the mess they've got out there. The amount of good players that can play for this team that can fill spots. So, can the team make the playoffs? Absolutely. If the players perform the way we know they can, it's a possibility. Now, I think the key for this team is starting off in April actually decent. Last year they posted the worst April in the history of the Toronto Blue Jays, and they tried to come back from that. It just didn't work. They didn't win a game through the first 9-10 games. That's a big hole to climb out of. Especially this year when you've got the new look New York Yankees and you've got the Boston Red Sox. Luckily last year, no team went crazy out of the gate, right? So it's going to be a very interesting year. If this team stays healthy and they can find a way to stay semi-consistent, who knows what can happen? Really. Look at this team, over the past couple years. Not last year, but the year before. How much different is this team? You look at the starting rotation, it really isn't much different. You had Mark Burley and R.A. Dickey. Let's say they have Jaime Garcia in there. Now you've got Jaime Garcia and Aaron Sanchez. Now, I understand Estrada and Happ are a little bit old, and you added Jay Happ as well. I mean, you look at that. Russell Martin's still your catcher. Osuna's still your closer, Yeah, still got Josh Donaldson, Tulowitzki, and Devin Travis. You still have Pilar in center field. For the most part, the team is the same. But yes, Edwin and Jose, I understand they're gone. And what Edwin did for this team, I get it. But Jose last year, guys, we all knew that was his end of the road. And Edwin, that whole situation was a mess. So yeah, fine, it sucks. But you added the power back with Randall Grichuk for Jose. Less strikeouts than Jose, but does he strike out quite a bit? Yes. Teoscar Hernandez showed you a lot of pop in left field last year. Justin Smoke provided power last year. Morales gave you power. Power's not an issue. It's can this team hit for contact? And that was the issue moving into the offseason, and I think it still is. You look at who they brought in, a lot of power hitters. So we're going to have to wait and see. It's going to be a very interesting spring training to see who makes it. And it's going to be a very interesting 2018 season for the Blue Jays. All right, so you know what, guys? That is going to do it for this one. If you guys enjoyed this video and you guys are pumped for not only spring training, but the Blue Jays season getting underway, hit that like button. I do appreciate that. Hit the subscribe button if you guys have not already. Comment down below what you guys think of the video. Any moves you think the Jays should make? Who do you think is going to surprise in spring training? Anybody who's going to slack? I want to hear what you guys have to say. Give me everything about your expectations for the 2018 season. And we'll talk to you guys, I guess, the Monday after the season gets underway. The preseason gets underway. Sorry, I just checked in the Leafs trade of Soshnikov, so I just got a little stumbly there. We'll talk to you guys, I guess, Monday the 26th. And I guess I'll be previewing the first 3 games of the Blue Jays spring training, kind of seeing what's up. And we'll talk to you guys then. We'll talk to you guys Raptors edition. That's the 23rd. So the first Blue Jays spring training game is on the 23rd. The Raptors come back from the All-Star break on the 23rd. And as for the Leafs, they play Saturday night in Pittsburgh, taking on the Penguins, looking for their 6th straight win. It's not going to be easy in Pittsburgh, though. We'll talk to you guys then.